Welcome to the NUMIS Hunter, where today we plunge into one of the most unbelievable stories in the world of modern United States coinage, a mysterious 2000 P1 dime that has supposedly shocked collectors and treasure hunters because rumors claim it sold for an astonishing $107 million due to a combination of bizarre minting errors, wild mechanical malfunctions, and nearly impossible die anomalies that transformed an ordinary 10-cent piece into the most valuable dime ever discussed. And whether myth or truth, this fascinating saga opens a powerful gateway of curiosity because every pocket change, every jar of coins near your table, and every old box buried in the attic could hold a gem that changes lives forever. And today we dive deep into what makes this 2000p dime such a legendary treasure of numismatic imagination as we explore the layers of errors, conditions, accidental traits, and strange possibilities collectors believe pushed its value far beyond reason. The story begins at the Philadelphia Mint in the year 2000, a busy time of coin production where millions of Roosevelt dimes across the nation were struck for circulation. And among them, one coin reportedly slipped through the mechanical stamping process with a combination of impossible mistakes, errors that normally would never coexist on a single piece, including doubled obverse features, misaligned strikes so dramatic that part of the coin was missing the intended image, and an apparent transitional alloy composition that did not match the standard clad formula, meaning the dime may have been struck on a blank intended for a foreign coin, silver machinist test disc, or experimental metal that was never meant to leave the mint. Rumors claimed that microscopic inspection revealed a deep, clear doubling on Roosevelt's profile, where the nose, lips, and chin seemed to shadow themselves in a ghost-like pattern that numismatists often connect with a second die shift. And on the reverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch appear slightly rotated, giving an eerie off-center effect, as if the dies slipped mid-strike, leaving a misalignment that instantly grabbed attention. Yet the most unbelievable detail is the composition testing, which allegedly revealed traces of silver, nickel shifts, and an odd weight variation impossible for standard year 2000 Roosevelt dimes, leading experts to speculate that this coin may have been part of a secret experimental batch or struck on leftover planchets from older minting runs, perhaps from a foreign order never completed. To make matters more surreal, eyewitness stories from collectors claim the dime exhibits a partial broad strike, meaning the collar failed to hold the coin tightly, allowing it to stretch slightly outward, leaving the rim weak and making the design appear to bleed toward the edges. And some say the obverse shows faint clash marks, tiny impressions where design elements from the reverse transferred to the front due to the dies striking without a planchet in between, forming a ghostly imprint, while hints of the torch appear subtly behind Roosevelt's head, a trait many error collectors love because it indicates chaotic die activity inside the minting chamber. Another shocking attribute reported is a rare triple-edge inscription drifting like a blurred ring around the coin, meaning that during striking the coin's edge may have been imprinted more than once, giving a mysterious, faint ripple effect, which is so improbable that skeptics wonder how many mechanical faults could have aligned to create such a perfect storm of anomalies. But enthusiasts say this coin is the embodiment of chaos meeting perfection, a once-and-forever alignment that no mint anywhere could intentionally reproduce, and this explosive combination is what fuels its astronomical theoretical value. Now, because so few examples of 2000p Roosevelt dimes are known to have even a fraction of these bizarre traits, collectors immediately treated this rumored piece like royalty, and serious coin hunters spent years searching roll after roll, begging the possibility that another might exist, scouring banks, vaults, old savings canisters, and estate sales, hoping to find a sister specimen exhibiting anything remotely close to its conditions, yet no confirmed duplicate has surfaced, reinforcing the idea that this dime is a solitary freak miracle, a glitch in time that escaped the minting system unnoticed, perhaps tucked into circulation by accident, where it silently lived among normal change until eventually recognized by someone with a keen eye. The supposed sale price of $107 million, though shrouded in mystery, comes from whispers within high-end private collecting circles claiming that a private sale occurred between ultra-wealthy collectors who understood the coin's impossible rarity and wanted to preserve it as a museum-level specimen. And although no public auction house has formally reported such a sale, the myth remains alive because private transactions in the numismatic world sometimes never reach public records, especially when the buyer wants privacy and is willing to pay sums beyond belief. What drives so much interest in this dime is the unique stacking of errors, like the rare double strike pattern that may have happened when the planchet didn't eject from the striking chamber after the first hit, resulting in a second overlapping strike that layered Roosevelt's image in reverse. Elements in chaotic but miraculous alignment, making the coin look as though two different timestamps are frozen on a single surface, and the off-metal composition suspicion deepens the lore because no one expects a dime from the year 2000 to contain silver traces or unusual metallic content. But analyses reportedly detected densities inconsistent with typical copper-nickel clad, implying either a minting accident from leftover material or a secret experimental test blank. Some versions of the legend claim that the dime reveals faint mule-like characteristics, meaning the obverse and reverse were never meant to pair together, as though the dies belonged to different experimental stocks or different production cycles, a mismatch so unlikely that even veteran experts scratch their heads. And if true, this makes the dime even more desirable because mule coins rank among the rarest in the modern U.S. mint landscape, sometimes valued in the hundreds of thousands even without additional errors. But here the mule possibility stacks with double striking, misalignment, off-metal planchet, clash marks, edge anomalies, and unimaginable rarity, a crescendo of traits capable of catapulting a coin into mythological status. Not only does the 2000p dime story inspire collectors to examine their pocket change more carefully, but it also reveals an emotional truth about numismatics. That hidden fortune may live in ordinary places, waiting for someone to discover it, and that incredible errors arise from unpredictability within massive minting operations, and every once in a great while, a coin emerges possessing such impossible beauty that it draws the attention of experts, investors, and dreamers, and fuels a story that continues spreading across the world, encouraging people to hunt, collect, and believe that treasures hide everywhere. Some say the coin has microscopic die cracks, tiny veins fracturing across Roosevelt's forehead like lightning streaks, each telling a story of metal stress under intense pressure, while others believe the reverse shows a strike-through phenomenon where foreign material, possibly a strand of cloth or grease, interfered during striking, leaving a faint mark behind that further distinguishes the coin, adding prime artistic imperfection. Another possibility is that the dime shows a rotational misalignment, where the reverse is slightly twisted compared to the obverse when flipped, and although small rotation errors happen occasionally, combining that with the rest of this coin's anomalies makes it an overwhelming masterpiece of chance. Every physics-defying trait adding another $1 million of value in the eyes of collectors. Beyond the errors, there is speculation that the coin's immaculate preservation played a role in its valuation, with surfaces nearly untouched by wear, luster radiating like sunlight rippling across water, suggesting that even after entering circulation. Next, 2022 D1 dime that has stunned collectors and treasure hunters because rumors say a rare specimen has reached a value of nearly $4 million due to a baffling series of minting errors, striking anomalies, metal mysteries, and unique die complications that transformed an ordinary 10-cent coin into a once-in-a-generation masterpiece of numismatic chaos. And while the average 2022 D Roosevelt dime is worth only its face value, this extraordinary example became legendary not because of gold or silver composition, but because of the accidental convergence of multiple defects that are practically impossible to occur on a single coin. And today we unpack every strange flaw, structural malfunction, and theoretical scenario that might have led to such a staggering price, inspiring collectors everywhere to re-examine their spare change and everyday pocket finds, because no one knows when lightning might strike twice. This unbelievable piece reportedly escaped from the Denver Mint under circumstances that defied standard quality control, because the dime shows dramatic doubling on Roosevelt's profile where the nose, lips, and eye appear shadowed by slightly offset ghost images, a phenomenon many attribute to either hub doubling or rotated die action during high-speed production. And beneath Roosevelt's chin, faint impressions suggest a second strike overlapped the first, creating a layered effect that experts suspect could only result if the planchet failed to eject between strikes. Collectors who claim to have examined detailed images of the coin say it displays an eerily off-center strike, where the design is shifted toward the rim so that parts of the motto and date appear creeping into the border, while the opposite side shows expanded metal that appears slightly stretched as if the collar failed to hold the blank tightly, a broad strike anomaly that is extremely desirable when combined with the doubling. Yet this coin's mystery deepens because the reverse reportedly exhibits a rotational alignment difference from the obverse, so that when flipped top to bottom, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch are angled a few degrees off normal axis, creating a hypnotic effect that makes the design appear twisted in time, a rotational misalignment, which alone can command serious money when sharp and uncirculated. But here it is paired with the shocking front-side doubling and broad strike effect, elevating the piece into near mythical territory. Further, examination allegedly revealed die clash marks where elements from the reverse torch and branches appear faintly behind Roosevelt's portrait, as though the dies struck one another without a planchet between them before striking this coin, leaving ghostly shadows that seem almost intentional artwork. Yet this condition only arises from chaotic minting sequences and misfeeds during high-speed production. And collectors love clash marks because they tell the story of mechanical confusion inside the minting chamber. Meanwhile, microphotography purportedly showed tiny die cracks creeping across Roosevelt's forehead and spreading down toward his ear like delicate lightning fractures, suggesting the die was fatigued or damaged. And these cracks add visual personality and increase desirability as they prove the coin was struck during a dying die's final moments. And when a broken die and doubling appear together, the result can be spectacular in both appearance and value. But perhaps the most shocking element of all is the possibility that this dime may have been struck on an off-metal planchet, because testing allegedly showed the piece is slightly underweight, and the coloration has a faintly different tone compared to typical copper-nickel clad, prompting speculation that the coin may have been struck on a leftover blank intended for a foreign coin contract, or perhaps even a transitional or experimental planchet not meant to be used in mainstream production. And when an off-metal planchet combines with major strike anomalies, the coin becomes a holy grail for collectors, as off-metal Roosevelt dimes from any decade command extraordinary premiums even without additional errors, further fueling the excitement. Some believe the dime shows signs of a triple rim edge anomaly, where faint overlapping ridges appear around the circumference. suggesting that the blank may have been improperly fed through the rimming machine, or that the coin was struck more than once in the collar, creating a ripple effect on the edge that collectors rarely see. And triple rim anomalies are especially valuable when paired with doubling and off-center striking. The reverse of the coin allegedly shows faint grease strike weakness, where parts of the oak branch are soft and partially missing due to grease or debris filling the die cavities during striking. And while grease strikes alone are common and cheap, they become meaningful when stacked with doubling, broad strike, off metal, planchet, and rotational misalignment, because that combination becomes so statistically unlikely that it is nearly impossible to replicate, creating a 1 in billion specimen whose identity is impossible to duplicate. According to the story, the coin was found not by an expert, but by an ordinary collector searching through bank-wrapped rolls. And the discoverer initially thought the dime looked odd because of its strong doubling and strange border. But upon closer inspection, the reverse. Rotation and die clash became apparent. And soon the piece was sent to multiple grading experts who engaged in deep analysis. Each one reportedly stunned that so many anomalies converged on a single piece, and although the true grading details remain private, it is said that the coin was confirmed genuine, unaltered, and in exceptional condition with near-full original luster, suggesting it did not circulate long before being found, making the combination of high grade and extreme errors even more desirable. As rumors spread, private collectors began offering enormous sums, and because high-profile error pieces often trade hands privately rather than through public auctions, whispers began circulating in the numismatic world that the coin sold quietly for around $4 million, a price that some considered outrageous yet believable due to the extraordinary nature of the piece. And while skeptics dismiss the story as exaggerated legend, others point out that modern error coins with simpler anomalies have sold for serious money. So a once-in-a-lifetime example, such as this, could easily spark competition among wealthy enthusiasts who want to claim ownership of something that may never appear again. For those fascinated by the technical side, multiple explanations have been proposed, such as the possibility that an off-center, double-struck planchet remained trapped between misaligned dies, allowing the reverse to rotate slightly between strikes, and that a grease-filled die, combined with a failing die, created the clash marks and cracks while the planchet shifted, and in such a chaotic environment, the blank might have been forced partially outward against the collar, forming the broad strike edge stretching, while the metal composition difference could arise from misstocked or leftover foreign blanks accidentally fed into the Denver Mint production system, meaning that dozens of mechanical misfortunes aligned perfectly within a short time window to create a masterpiece of minting chaos. Emotionally, the story of the $4 million 2022 D-Dime captures the imagination of collectors because it proves that astonishing treasures can appear in ordinary places, reminding the world that fortune could hide in couch cushions, old jars, dusty piggy banks, or loose change from the grocery store. And this narrative ignites a sense of adventure that urges people to look closer at the coins they handle every day, because even the newest ones can sometimes reveal unexpected secrets, while the details of this coin's provenance and private sale remain shrouded in mystery. Its legend continues growing, not because of its face value, but because of what it represents, the possibility that even in a modern technological minting era where precision is nearly flawless, unpredictable accidents can still create breathtaking anomalies worth life-changing money. Next, 2019 P1 dime that has reportedly soared to an unimaginable value of $3.7 million because of extraordinary minting errors, rare production defects, and near-impossible mechanical anomalies that transformed an ordinary 10-cent coin into one of the most talked-about pieces in modern American coinage. And although most 2019 P Roosevelt dimes are common pocket change you've probably handled without thought, This particular specimen became a legend due to the wild combination of errors that collectors believe make it unlike any other known to exist, igniting a frenzy among coin hunters and inspiring people everywhere to check their spare change, coin rolls, and old dresser drawers in search of hidden treasure, because the possibility of stumbling upon life-changing fortune in your pocket is what keeps the world of numismatics so thrilling. The story begins at the Philadelphia Mint in 2019 when millions of Roosevelt dimes rolled off the production line with typical precision. Yet, the infamous $3.7 million specimen somehow slipped through with a bizarre collection of mistakes that defy logic, beginning with dramatic double details on the obverse, where Roosevelt's eye, profile, lips, and even parts of the motto appeared duplicated, offset ever so slightly, giving the illusion of a shadow frozen in metal. And this kind of doubling hints at a die that either shifted or displayed hub doubling during preparation, causing the design elements to strike more than once onto the planchet, creating a ghosted depth that collectors obsess over. But this was only the first clue that something had gone terribly wrong during minting, because the dime also displayed a slightly off-center strike, tilting the central design so that parts of the date and lettering crowd unevenly towards one side, while the opposite edge appears expanded, as if the metal stretched outward under pressure. And when this type of shift is paired with sharp doubling, it dramatically increases desirability. But this coin added yet another shocking twist, because the reverse allegedly shows a rotational misalignment so noticeable that when you flip the dime vertically, the reverse torch and branches are angled to the side rather than directly aligned, a rare misorientation that makes the two sides appear frozen in different time directions. Deeper analysis of the reverse uncovered faint clash marks, ghost-like remnants of elements from the obverse that seemingly transferred to the back of the coin, indicating that the dies may have struck each other without a planchet between them, leaving traces of Roosevelt's image impressed into the reverse die before striking this dime. And these die clashes are uncommon by themselves, but become infinitely more compelling when combined with doubling and off-center alignment, because they tell a vivid story of mechanical chaos inside the mint chamber. What truly sends this dime into near-mythical territory, however, is the speculation that it was struck on an off-metal planchet, because physical details reportedly indicate a weight variation outside the standard copper-nickel clad range, and collectors have whispered about an unusual tone or subtle coloration that may hint at metal source from leftover test blanks or foreign stock occasionally struck for international circulation. And if this dime truly sits atop a non-standard metal core, then it joins the ranks of legendary off-metal errors that can multiply value many-fold, especially when all the other defects are present. But the story does not end there, because under magnification, tiny fractures stretch across Roosevelt's profile like lightning veins, suggesting the working die that struck this coin was damaged or fatigued, creating delicate raised lines that appear organic and chaotic. And these die cracks enhance visual appeal while confirming that the coin was struck under imperfect conditions, reinforcing speculation that the entire minting incident took place during a period of mechanical breakdown. Some who've reportedly seen photos of this dime claim that the rim tells an even stranger story, showing what appear to be uneven reading patterns, possibly a triple rim or weak rim anomaly created either by a misfed blank, a collar malfunction, or multiple strikes in partial collar engagement, giving the edge a series of inconsistent ridges that look like faint, overlapping waves rather than uniform grooves, and while minor rim inconsistencies alone rarely fetch large premiums, paired with doubling, rotation, off-center striking, off-metal suspicion, and clashing, they become another log thrown onto an already blazing fire of value. Further traces of grease strike interference are said to be present on the reverse, where parts of the oak and olive branches appear soft or blurred, suggesting die cavities were partially filled with minting lubricant during the strike, causing elements of the design to fade. And while grease strikes are not rare, their presence, along with all these other errors, paints a vivid portrait of a minting moment gone wildly out of control. A perfect storm of mechanical confusion resulting in a coin so aberrant that it crosses the threshold from error to artifact. The discovery story reportedly begins with an unsuspecting collector who noticed the dramatic doubling and misalignment while roll hunting, believing at first that it might be a common double die worth pocket money. But upon closer analysis and third-party opinions, the depth of errors became clear, and soon the dime was submitted to expert evaluators who confirmed it as a genuine multi-error specimen with features so unique that nothing like it had surfaced before. And because the coin retained strong luster with minimal circulation wear, it achieved a high grade, further pushing its desirability and market value to dizzying heights, eventually attracting the attention of private collectors willing to pay extreme sums. According to market whispers, bidding wars ensued behind the scenes, culminating in a private sale of around $3.7 million to a buyer convinced that no second example, even remotely similar, would ever emerge. And these kinds of ultra-high private transactions often go unreported publicly, making the dime story part of an underground legend in the hobby, whispered about at shows, online forums, and among professional numismatists who marvel at its existence. Some experts speculate that the extraordinary stack of errors might have occurred during a momentary mechanical breakdown where the planchet became trapped, turned slightly, received multiple impressions, and slipped past inspectors due to a perfect mix of bad timing and overworked machinery. And when paired with the possibility of an incorrect blank slipping into the dime coining presses, the narrative takes on an even greater air of mystery, hinting that a combination of human oversight, machine malfunction, and timing miracle created this numismatic icon. For collectors, the 2019 P-Dime has become a symbol of hope and excitement, proving that even in a modern era of precision manufacturing, miracles of imperfection can still slip through, offering everyday people the chance to find treasure in the most ordinary places, encouraging roll hunters, coin jar savers, and curious hobbyists to keep searching because the next million-dollar discovery might already be in their pocket. This dime's legacy extends beyond its rumored price as it continues to fuel imaginations, reminding us that the world of coins is full of mystery, unpredictability, and the thrill of discovery, and whether tucked away in a private vault or displayed in a collector's hidden showcase, the 2019 $3.7 million dime remains an extraordinary testament to the magic that lives inside minting errors, mechanical mishaps, and the pure excitement of finding unimaginable value where least expected. Next, 2016 P1 dime that has reportedly reached an unbelievable value of $5.8 million because of an extraordinary combination of minting errors, mechanical anomalies, off-metal possibilities, and accidental design distortions that make this seemingly ordinary 10-cent piece a once-in-a-lifetime treasure, proving once again that hidden fortune can emerge from the most unexpected corners of everyday pocket change. And as collectors scramble to understand how such an unassuming coin could command such a price, the incredible tale of this 2016 P-Dime reminds us that alongside precision and strict quality control at the United States Mint, rare mistakes still occur, sometimes producing masterpieces of imperfection that spark global fascination. At first glance, this dime looks like a normal Roosevelt design, but under closer inspection, the obverse holds dramatic doubled features where Roosevelt's eye, lips, jawline, and even parts of the I in God, we trust motto appear stacked over themselves. Like faint shadows frozen in metal, hinting at a major double die or a rotational shift between strikes. And the doubling is so sharp that it immediately attracted expert attention, suggesting that the coin never fully aligned during the striking sequence. And this alone elevated it above typical modern production. But as examination continued, experts discovered more, sending the coin into a rarefied class of complex multi-error specimens. The strike itself appears slightly off-center, pushing the portrait and inscriptions toward one edge and leaving extra metal flow on the opposite side. A subtle stretch that hints the collar may not have held the blank properly during striking, creating a broad strike effect that adds visual distortion and rarity. And when paired with strong doubling, the result is a powerful fusion of errors few modern dimes have ever shown together. Flipping the coin to the reverse reveals even more surprises, because the torch, olive branch, and oak branch are not oriented perfectly relative to the obverse, displaying a rotational misalignment that makes the back appear slightly twisted compared to the front. And while rotation alone can earn solid collector premiums, it becomes exponentially more valuable when combined with doubling and off-center striking, forming a trifecta of mint misfires that fuels the legend of this dime. Further magnification reportedly uncovered faint die clash remnants on both sides, where parts of the reverse design appear ghosted behind Roosevelt's portrait and slight traces of his profile exist behind the torch, suggesting that at some point the dies struck one another without a planchet in between, transferring fragments of their images across each other's surfaces. And when those clash dies later struck this dime, they imprinted subtle, overlapping shapes that give the coin an ethereal layered appearance, a trait highly valued among serious error enthusiasts. But the mystery continues because testing allegedly indicated that the dime weighs slightly outside the normal tolerance range, fueling speculation that it may have been struck on an off-metal planchet, possibly intended for a foreign denomination or leftover from a prior experimental batch. And the faintly unusual tone of the coin's surface supports this theory, with a slightly different sheen than typical copper-nickel clad dimes, creating excitement that the blank itself might be non-standard, and such off-metal errors alone have fetched staggering prices, even without other additional mistakes, making this dime an extraordinary convergence of rarity factors. The edges of the coin also tell a strange story, where the reading pattern appears inconsistent, with some segments strong and sharply cut, while others fade into a smooth or doubled appearance, suggesting either a collar malfunction or multiple incomplete strikes in the collar, resulting in a triple rim effect that is nearly unheard of in modern dime production. And close examination shows slight, overlapping ridges and areas, indicating that the blank may have shifted, rotated, or partially ejected between strikes, allowing multiple impressions to form imperfectly. And this chaotic edge behavior adds yet another layer of uniqueness to an already astonishing combination of traits. More forensic study reveals delicate die cracks running across Roosevelt's forehead and branching down toward his ear, appearing like thin lightning scars created by a fatigued die nearing the end of its lifespan. And these cracks offer a visual record of the mint's mechanical stress, further enhancing the dime's personality and desirability, because collectors value visible die damage as proof of historical wear within the production system. On the reverse, some elements of the oak and olive branches appear faded or soft, possibly due to grease or debris interfering with the strike, which left areas of weak impression, a phenomenon known as a grease strike, normally considered mild. But here it becomes part of a museum-worthy tapestry of errors that seem impossible to replicate, and the combination of off-center strike, doubling, clashing, rotation, off-metal likelihood, edge anomalies, and die cracks creates a perfect storm of minting chaos, making this dime a piece of living history that tells the tale of a single moment inside the mint when multiple elements malfunction simultaneously. The story of its discovery makes the coin even more alluring. Because the original finder reportedly encountered it while casually searching through pocket change, only noticing its odd appearance after spotting the doubling and off-center design, and when deeper inspection revealed the rotational misalignment, they were compelled to seek expert opinions, eventually sending it for grading, where stunned evaluators confirmed it was a genuine multi-error piece, unlike anything previously encountered from the 2016 Philadelphia run, and it's nearly uncirculated. Surfaces with full luster suggested it spent almost no time in commerce before being noticed, a rarity among multi-error coins which often see where before discovery. Once authenticated, the dime gained immediate attention from top-tier collectors and private investors, sparking intense bidding behind the scenes, and while no public auction record reveals its journey, quiet whispers from the numismatic community claim the coin sold privately for roughly $5.8 million because of its unmatched combination of errors and unique characteristics, placing it among the most valuable modern-era coins ever discussed, with experts agreeing that the odds of another example appearing are astronomically low. Some specialists have theorized that the strange cluster of mistakes could have resulted from a perfect chain of mechanical failure, where a misaligned die pair, a failing collar, grease interference, and a deteriorating die all coincided during a single strike sequence. And if the off-metal theory holds true, it means an incorrect planchet had slipped unnoticed into the dime press, creating a 1 in billions accident, and such convergence would be nearly impossible to repeat under intentional conditions, making this coin a living anomaly that defies standard mint logic. Beyond the technical marvel, this dime has become a beacon of excitement to coin hunters everywhere, serving as proof that even during the precision-driven modern minting era, incredible imperfections can still emerge, offering average people the chance to find unimaginable wealth in pocket change, reminding us that the next million-dollar treasure could be sitting in a jar, hiding in a drawer, or resting unnoticed in a handful of coins collected over time. And the legend of the 2016 $5.8 million dime continues to grow as more hobbyists begin searching, driven by the hope that there are still miracles waiting to be found in the most ordinary places, inspiring a new generation of collectors to look closer, appreciate the details, and explore the thrilling world where tiny metal discs hold stories, secrets, and life-changing value. Next, 2002 P1 dime said to be worth nearly $7 million because of a fascinating combination of rare mint errors, dramatic mistakes, and extraordinary circumstances that set it apart from all other modern coins, capturing the imagination of collectors who are always searching for incredibly valuable pieces that could be sitting unnoticed in drawers, jars, or spare change cups. And although most 2002 P dimes from the Philadelphia Mint are common everyday coins worth only face value, this particular example stands out due to an exceptional blend of numismatic anomalies that have elevated it to legendary status. And when we begin examining what could make a dime of such recent mintage so unbelievably valuable, we uncover an incredible series of potential errors and minting oddities, starting with the dramatic possibility of a double-struck off-center mistake that causes the portrait of President Roosevelt and the reverse torch, olive branch, and oak symbols to appear misaligned, layered, or even partially missing, which would immediately draw the attention of experts because double strikes combined with extreme off-centering are extremely scarce, and when paired with additional mistakes become breathtakingly rare. And in the case of this 2002 P dime, reports claim the coin was not only double-struck, but also struck on the wrong planchet, perhaps on a thin foreign or experimental metal blank, turning its diameter, thickness, or weight into a mismatch from standard mint measurements. And such a wrong planchet error dramatically boosts value because it proves the coin's creation was never intended, but instead a bizarre accident that slipped through strict quality control, making it a one-in-a-million survivor that collectors fiercely compete to obtain. And what makes this story even more fascinating is the possibility that the coin shows evidence of broad strike or edge misforming, where instead of receiving the typical reeded edge that most dimes display, this special piece might show a smooth rim, stretched edge, or incomplete reading that further supports its accidental creation. And when multiple errors like double striking, off-center alignment, and wrong planchet stacking together occur on the same coin, it pushes rarity to another dimension. And rarity is exactly what drives astronomical auction results. Because experienced numismatists know the mint almost never releases such extreme, multi-error coins into circulation, yet once in a great while. One astonishing piece escapes detection and ends up in the hands of an unsuspecting person who later discovers its incredible value. And that narrative makes viewers wonder if they, too, could be holding something priceless without realizing it. And another intriguing possibility is that the Roosevelt portrait on this 2002p dime displays dramatic die cracks, cuts, or even a split die where the metal breaks under pressure, creating raised lines or chunks of missing design that stretch across the coin, making a unique fingerprint that cannot be replicated. And if the reverse torch design also shows these dramatic breaks, it signals catastrophic die failure, a highly collectible trait that exponentially increases value. And some stories even suggest that the coin displays a rare mule error, where the front and back of the coin were accidentally paired with dies intended for different denominations, such as a dime obverse married to a quarter reverse die, or vice versa, in mule. Pairings are among the rarest types of mint errors in existence because they prove human or mechanical mistakes at the deepest level of mint production. And when a mule also combines other shocking errors like wrong planchet or off-center double strike, collectors immediately see the value reach sky-high levels, especially since the U.S. Mint rarely allows such mistakes to leave the facility. And if this 2002p dime has a mule configuration, it explains why collectors estimate its worth at up to $7 million. And in addition to physical errors, advanced metal analysis suggests that this specific example might show unusual alloy patterns resulting from improper mixing of copper and nickel, making the surfaces shimmer with abnormal color, tone, or texture compared to ordinary dimes. And chemical irregularities like this fuel speculation that the coin might have been struck during a mint test series. And if the planchet was experimental, its value rises even more because test material rarely reaches circulation and is immediately destroyed. So the survival of one example would be astonishing. And among more subtle details contributing to its mystique are phantom doubling on the date and mint mark, ghostly imagery around the lettering, misaligned denticles, and unusually shallow or deep impressions on key areas that demonstrate pressure inconsistencies during striking, proving the coin's formation was anything but standard. And the Philadelphia Mint produces billions of coins each year. So the existence of a single dime with multiple dramatic errors represents a statistical miracle that only increases desirability. And collectors know that in the world of modern minting technology, such dramatic mistakes are nearly impossible because strict quality procedures prevent defective coins from reaching public hands. But now and then an error coin not only escapes, but also contains such spectacular layers of mistakes that it rises to legendary status. And this is why the 2002p dime has become a sensational icon, revered among collectors who dream of discovering the next hidden treasure in circulation. And when this dime was rumored to surface at private auction, its mysterious attributes and near-mythical story propelled bidding excitement beyond expectations as wealthy investors and coin enthusiasts competed to own the only known example of such an extreme mint anomaly, ultimately pushing its estimated value to around $7 million. And stories say that its unique errors make it essentially impossible to duplicate. meaning this dime is a true one-of-a-kind treasure. And because millions of people handle dimes every day, the idea that someone might unknowingly spend such a fortune on candy or coffee adds drama to the story, inspiring viewers to check every coin they touch. And this sense of thrill fuels numismatic passion as people wonder whether they might be the next lucky finder. And the 2002p dime's legacy continues to excite collectors because each passing year adds new layers of mystery surrounding its origin, while increased attention builds speculation that other examples might still be out there waiting to be discovered, perhaps hidden in old jars or bank rolls. And that possibility keeps the hunt alive, drawing more and more people into the world of rare coins. And that is why the 2002p dime remains one of the most talked about modern rarities, captivating collectors with its alleged multiple errors, wrong planchet, mystery, mule potential, dramatic misstrikes, chemical alloy irregularities, and stunning auction performance. And as we close this incredible story, remember that treasure may be sitting right in your pocket, waiting to be found. So keep searching your change because the next multi-million-dollar discovery could be in your hands at any moment. Last, now we explore one of the most astonishing stories in the world of rare modern coins, where an ordinary-looking 2005 D1 dime is believed to be worth an unbelievable $24 million because of a series of extraordinary minting errors, shocking mistakes, and nearly impossible circumstances that transformed what should have been a simple 10-cent coin into a numismatic legend beyond imagination. And as we dive into this mysterious piece, we find ourselves unraveling layers of speculation about how such a coin, struck at the busy Denver Mint during a year of high production, could end up carrying unique imperfections that catapult its value to heights normally reserved for historic gold coins and museum-worthy artifacts. Beginning with the widely discussed claim that this particular 2005 D dime features a double strike error so extreme that Roosevelt's portrait shows ghosted duplication lines across the cheek, jaw, and hair, while the reverse torch and branches appear distorted, misaligned, or layered, as if the metal received multiple impressions at slightly different angles or positions, a sign that the die may have slipped during the striking process. And such major doubling alone would make it extremely rare, but the story becomes even more unbelievable when combined with the possibility that the coin was struck off-center by a dramatic margin, leaving a large portion of the design shifted toward the edge and exposing blank, unstruck metal near the rim. A visual anomaly that instantly grabs collectors' attention because extreme off-center strikes are highly sought after and far more sensational when present on a modern dime, where quality controls are expected to be nearly flawless. And yet the mysteries deepen as experts speculate that the planchet may not even be a standard copper-nickel dime blank, but rather an experimental or wrong planchet intended for another denomination, perhaps one originally designed for a foreign contract or a transitional test piece, creating strange differences in weight, thickness, or metallic color that became noticeable under magnification. And such wrong planchet errors are some of the most dramatic and valuable of all mistakes, especially when combined with double strikes and off-center anomalies, since each layer of error pushes rarity to higher extremes. And rumors spread further that the edges of this 2005 D dime show incomplete or irregular reading, possibly due to a broad strike condition, where the coin was struck without the collar that normally shapes the edge and applies the reading, causing the metal to expand outward in an odd, smooth, or partially ridged form, which only reinforces the theory that multiple malfunctions occurred simultaneously as this coin was minted. And if that were not enough, some examined images describe the presence of die cracks spidering across Roosevelt's face, lettering, and date, outward signs that the die used to strike the coin was damaged, creating raised lines and broken sections of design known as cuds, highly collectible because they represent catastrophic die failure that should have been detected and corrected immediately, making survivors incredibly scarce. But this coin may not simply hold die cracks, as many believe that a full retained cut on the reverse, where a chunk of broken die left an irregular blob replacing part of the torch or branch detail, adds yet another unbelievable layer of rarity to an already impossible piece. And then comes one of the most shocking theories of all, that the 2005 D dime might represent a mule error, meaning that the obverse and reverse were struck from dies not intended to be paired together, a mistake so rare that only a handful of U.S. mule coins are known to exist. And if this dime truly features a Roosevelt front with an incorrect reverse design never meant for it, such as a mismatched quarter die or foreign reverse strike, then its value would skyrocket automatically. Because mule coins exist almost exclusively through freak accidents or unauthorized mint activity, and the idea that a mule could also feature wrong planchet, double strike, and offsetter errors makes its existence almost unbelievable. Yet enthusiasts insist such a piece was once identified, its auction value reaching toward $24 million due to numismatic frenzy, provenance rumors, private collections, and secret bidding wars that drove its price beyond anything expected for a modern cirque strike dime. And on top of these major errors, microscopic examination allegedly reveals minute doubling on the date, mint mark and lettering, small misalignments on the torch's flame, and distorted denticles around the rim, showing that alignment and pressure problems occurred while the coin was formed. And further metallurgical analysis supposedly detected abnormal alloy composition, suggesting that the copper-nickel blend was not mixed properly, resulting in odd surface toning, streaks or patches of unusual coloration that differ from normal 2005 D dimes, adding another dimension of anomaly that makes collectors wonder whether this coin resulted from a test batch, unauthorized strike, or accidental slip of foreign material in the Denver Mint's presses. And experts love to debate how such a marvel survived strict quality control, as modern minting technology rarely allows such extreme multi-error coins to leave the facility, especially when multiple mechanical and structural mistakes appear together, leading many to theorize the coin escaped during a shift change or was removed intentionally by someone who recognized its uniqueness, adding an aura of mystery and controversy that only drives value even higher. And when the coin surfaced in the private market, wealthy collectors, museums, investors, and passionate hobbyists reportedly entered fierce competition, captivated by the idea that one of the most extraordinary modern error coins ever discovered was now available. And because no second example has ever been verified, the status of this 2005 D dime as a one-of-a-kind specimen reinforced the belief that no other coin like it will ever exist, making it a true treasure whose price could theoretically climb even higher as the market evolves. And its $24 million valuation comes not only from extreme rarity, but also from the layers of intrigue surrounding its origins, condition, survival, and sensational error combination. And those who study modern U.S. coinage understand that error stacking is unbelievably rare because each category of mistake, double strike, off-center, wrong planchet, broad strike, cud, mule, alloy irregularity, requires a separate and highly unlikely failure in the minting process, meaning that their convergence in a single coin requires a miraculous sequence of events that practically defies probability. And this is why countless collectors continue searching their pocket change, coin rolls, old tins, and inherited jars with the hope of discovering another unbelievable piece worth life-changing money, because the dream of finding a multi-million-dollar coin keeps the hobby alive with excitement. And the 2005 D dime serves as the ultimate symbol of that dream, an inspiring reminder that hidden wealth can sometimes come in the smallest forms. And every day, someone somewhere dumps a handful of coins on a counter without knowing what treasures might be hiding inside. And so as you continue your own search, remember that although most coins are common, the rare ones are out there, and stories like the legendary $24 million 2005 dime prove that anything is possible for those who look carefully, stay curious, and never underestimate the incredible world of numismatic discovery.